This is actually a really good question. I saw someone on trade chat selling Ditto box for 240k. Whispered the guy and told him that now usually around 200k is the price. Got blocked. Am I the asshole for that? I would actually say yes and no. So I would say anyone trying to sell a Ditto box for an overpriced, I think is an asshole. I think it's like really cringe. But more so the buyers. I fault the buyers in a situation like that more so. If someone can sell something for any price, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's the responsibility of the buyer to have the knowledge and understanding of what they're buying. I don't fault a seller for overpriced. Now, do I think it's... Now, would I avoid that seller? And would I think it's... I would never... But yeah, of course. You kind of like let like the market decide. Let the market push that seller out of it, right? Essentially, make your own smart decisions as a buyer. It's not... should you message someone selling someone a Ditto box for 240k and tell them you probably shouldn't do that, in my opinion. I get where you're coming from. I really do get the, I get it, right? The urge, but I think it's good to not message people like that and just let them, be them. Let them sell their price. Let them overprice stuff. It's kind of like, dude, if you're familiar with retro video game stuff, DK Oldies is the perfect example of this. They've recently been getting shit on. I've been aware of them for like the past 3 years. It took them long enough, dude, or 2 years or whatever. But they've started to get shit on because they drastically overprice stuff. But people buy it. And the meme is like, if people want to buy overpriced stuff, I mean, they can. Usually it's just from a lack of information. Usually it's just casual fans who don't know any better. They don't know they're paying 3 times the markup. It's really sad. Like, I think that's like the best thing you can do. If you have an issue with it, the best thing you can do is try to spread information and try to educate people as much as possible. Don't like shame the seller. I think the main thing is educate the buyers. I guess that's my very long little ranty spiel to that. Don't shame people for selling Ditto boxes for high, right? If you can sell a Ditto box for whatever price you want, I think it's better to like try to tell the buyers, hey, like if you buy Dittos on the GTL, it's literally cheaper than 240k. Why the fuck would you ever pay it's ridiculous. Like, it's so stupid. It'd be so dumb to buy Dittos. Like if you buy them on the GTL right now for 3,700, like, yeah, that's 240k is extortion. It's ridiculous. There's no reason for that. Usually Ditto boxes right now are around 200k. Usually when like the way to price check a Ditto box, I always say this. The way to price check a Ditto box is to check what price Dittos are on the market, okay? Check what they are on the market and then subtract like 500 Pokeyen. The reason being is because when someone sells a Ditto box, they're dodging the listing fee, which is 1k Pokeyen. So if you subtract 500, you're splitting the cost equally between the buyer and the seller. So you're each like supplementing that 500 Pokeyen, if that makes sense. So if you take 3,700 and subtract that by 500 Pokeyen, which is the amount saved if you sell via boxes, you end up with around 200 or 3,200. We know basic math, right? 3,200. So if you do 3,200 times 60, you end up with around 200k. If someone wants to sell for like 180k, or I mean, like, 180, 190, 200k, those are all fair prices. Anything above 200k right now, I just wouldn't just encourage people to not buy. People get desperate for Ditto boxes, and you just shouldn't. Edge hunting is such a long-term thing. Like, paying extra for that Ditto box to get one more, it doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna be hunting it for a year and a half, dog. Like, Cranidos took me 17 months. Do not waste your money. Don't do that. Don't fuck the market. Like, just be patient. It's a patient hunt. If you are not a patient person, you just shouldn't be hunting eggs, like, for sure. Yeah, 220k mail. If you adding plus 20k. If you're selling Ditto boxes via mail, always just add 20k. It's like 19,200 exactly to mail a full box, but around 20k is fair. Yeah, I think yeah. So add 20k if you're mailing the box, but generally that's the general Ditto box rule. Subtract 500 yen. That's the best way to split the difference between the buyer and the seller and get a fair deal. Never overpay for a Ditto box. It's the responsibility is on the buyer, not the seller. If you want to sell a Ditto box for 300k, more power to you. I think it's cringy, but you're not doing anything wrong. Like, you're not doing anything wrong as the seller, but it's not wrong. But it's a little cringy, I would argue. But it's the responsibility of the buyer to know what they're doing for sure. So yeah, that's my little market spiel on Ditto box pricing and stuff. Hopefully that helps some people.